real difference. Former Labor campaign guru Bruce Hawker and former Productivity Commissioner Judith Sloan, now a columnist for The Australian, and a very good one too, Judith.
Thank you.
Judith, first, Malcolm Turnbull promised jobs and growth. Now we see no growth, in fact, negative growth. How bad is that?
Well, it's not good. GDP fell by 0.5%. There was an expectation that it could be low or slightly negative, but no one was talking...
Not this much.
No. Annual growth now 1.8. In the budget, it was 2.5 was the expectation for the year. So definitely a disappointment. I wouldn't panic. I think it's probably unlikely.
Like Terry said earlier, you're not sending out checks to the stimulus checks to the dead and people in pension in Greece.
That's very important that, in fact, the government interpret this appropriately. A lot of it's got to do with the weakness in the Western Australian economy. So the Victorian New South Wales economy, not so bad.
But the point is, of course, the money's not there for stimulus anyway because it's all long gone. But Bruce, Judith is saying, look, it's not good, but it's not a disaster yet. Let's see, of course, the next quarter's figures. But politically, it's not good, is it?
No, but it's all going to depend on what happens in the next quarter. If the next quarter is another one of negative growth, then we're in recession, and that is a very bad word that the government has to deal with. If they can see this one off and blame the federal election and the presidential elections and uncertainty around that, then perhaps they'll be okay. But you know, it's not a good look. And then if it continues to go down that path, then they're in a lot of strife. And as you said, you know, they're not going to be able to stimulate the economy in the way that Trump, for example, wants to over in the States. And their economy, arguably, is doing better than ours. Unemployment's lower, for a start, even though everyone over there seems to have to carry 3 jobs in order to survive. So I don't see it as being a very good story for the government at all, but it'll depend on what happens in the next quarter.
Yeah. Now, listen, Bruce is the voice of moderation here. He's the bloke that last week said the government was doing good stuff, ended on a good note. You did, Bruce, you did. I'm holding this against you.
Oh, my God.
But listen,
did I
given
say
that we
that?
need
I was drunk, Your Honour.
You did. Given that we do need reforms, right, clearly we need to get growth moving. The government was last week boasting, well, look, we've got the Australian Building and Construction Commission, crack down on rogue building unions and hopefully lower prices on construction things, and the backpacker tax. How close is that to the kind of reform you think is necessary?
Well, let's put the backpacker tax to one side. It was a complete schmozzle from the beginning till the end, actually. It was just terrible. And it doesn't amount to a hill of beans, either in terms of the budget or policy, so forget that. I mean, the interesting thing about going back to the National Accounts figures is this, that we've really had a lot of weakness in private investment. That is the problem. And what happened was that the mining construction boom went down. It was filled to a fair degree by housing. As we've seen, the real estate market, went crazy. That's now winding down. And there's nothing obviously filling the gap.
Nothing productive.
Well, we've got record low interest rates, but that doesn't seem...
People are not borrowing. This is the whole thing.
No.
But the whole thing here...
So that's where you've got to think about what is absent in the environment and the reform package, which is creating such uncertainty and such lack of...
Well, let me name one of these things. Just one of these things. Bruce, last week, BHP Billiton, it's been cheering along this global warming scare that you're a part of too, that you endorse. No, he does. It was, but under
as do 98% of climate scientists, by the way. But let's put that to one side.
It's gone up now, has it? Trust you to fall for that dodgy figure. I mean, I've got friends who are supposedly part of that 97% consensus and say, mate, it's a dodgy figure. But anyway,
don't let me distract you, Andrew. Get on with it. Get on with it. Come on.
Yeah.
Tell us about those monsters over at BHP.
Global warming policies. BHP was saying we've got to have cheaper power. We've got to have power that works, because otherwise things like our giant Olympic Dam mine can't operate. You got the Portland aluminium smelter. Nearly 1,000 jobs hang off that down in Western Victoria. That could close because of all this sort of stuff. Why on earth would Malcolm Turnbull set off a hare about, oh, we might add a new form of penalty tax to power stations?
Oh, well, why would he just go out of his way to agitate the right wing of his party? I mean, that's the political question, and I've got absolutely no idea why he would have gone down that path at all. I was staggered when we heard those comments from Josh Frydenberg the other day. I just don't understand his political instincts. You know, the Liberal Party is not the Liberal Party, it's a Conservative party. He's probably a Liberal in Conservative clothes. That's been at the root of his problems from the start, and yet he keeps going back into that space. And then it looks like he's being forced into a back down, and he probably is being forced down into a back down over these policies. So I don't think he actually understands the nature of his party. It's not really the Liberal Party, it's Liberal in brackets Conservative Party, and it's overwhelmingly of that view. He should either get on board with all that stuff or decide that he's not going to be part of that show anymore. That's my view about it. And I don't think that's a bad thing for politics, frankly. I think you do need to have a pretty clear distinction between one side of politics and the other, and at the moment...
I know, he's got to be in the debate. You've got to offer views of choice. A vote is a choice. Can I ask you, though, you've studied this.
Why the timing?
It's just the timing is nuts.
You know, they're saying, oh, we had to bring on a review. Well, you know, I had a look at everything. I mean, yes, they might have committed to review. You didn't have to announce it in this week. I mean, you know, let's assume Bruce's hypothesis for a minute that things were improving a little bit, got stuff through the Senate and the like, and now he's gone and blown it, as far as I can see.
I agree completely. But you've studied a lot of this, Judith. Green power, green electricity schemes and all, global warming. How much of a drag is that on the economy?
Well, you know, what's happening, it's the RET, you know, the trouble
renewable
is,
energy target forcing us to use green power.
Yeah. And the thing is, when these things start off, they don't matter too much because, you know, you're building towards the target and there's excess capacity in the system, which was very much the case when we started along this RET journey, shall I put it. But now the trouble is that, the rubber's hitting the road. And
companies are going out of business.
Yeah. So,
it's just incredible.
So the Northern Power Station in South Australia was allowed to close down. Now Hazel was going.
They blew it up. You know, they blew up the chimney.
I hadn't realised that. 25% of base load in Victoria
gone. No, it's just look, gentlemen, Judith and Bruce. Thank you so much for your time. This is a real story. We're going to have to do more on this. And Bruce, I think you might have to revise your kind words of last week. Unusual generosity has blown up in your face.
I withdraw them now, wholeheartedly, unreservedly.
Oh, come on.
The man's a shocker.
Side, Bruce Hawker, thanks for your time. No, I wouldn't go that far. Hang on, because...